Hey, welcome everybody to teamfortress.tv. My name is Getawhale. I'm joined by my very good friends, Marxist and Dashner, doing production this evening. And we are here to bring you ESEA-IM action tonight. We've brought you a ton of invite, but there's a lot going on in IM as well. Tonight we have the two best teams in intermediate. It is Cafe Monster and it is Meat Market. The two undefeated teams. The number 1 and 2 team, in fact, in the IM division. They're facing off tonight. One of them is walking out of here with a loss, and that's just the way it's going to go. Now, Mark says, we haven't really had a lot of these matches of two undefeated teams over the past while, have we?
Nope. Well, I mean, it doesn't really happen in Invite either, because there are less teams, but this will be a good look into how things are going to go in IM, because chances are, in order to win the championship, these two teams are going to have to go through each other again at some point.
Absolutely, they are. And so right now, Meat Market is in first. They have one more win. They're 9-0. Cafe Monster are 8-0. And, you know, really at this juncture in the season and at this point, we're far enough along now that it's pretty significant. You know, there's only a certain amount of weeks left, and I don't know. Certainly, both of these teams want it. Marxist, you and I were talking before this that Meat Market really want it. They've been in IM, and they've come really close and done well in the past, but I think they'd love to win this division. And Cafe Monster, a little less experienced in IM, but fast risers, and they could probably pull it off too.
Yeah, I don't really know how it's all going to boil out. It's basically, you know, comparing the older, more proven frying pan to the modern fresh frying pan.
The fresh frying pan. Well, which is which? And let's talk about this. Let's look at the pockets, because the pockets on these teams, they're the number 1 and 2 in terms of DPN. They're names that people probably know if they follow competitive at all. We're looking at Bro King and we're looking at Goldfish. I mean, it's pretty significant, these guys. We know about both of these people. Who do you want to talk about, Marxist? Who do you know better?
Well, I'm more familiar with Bro King. I've only heard sort of whisperings of Goldfish. I know Dashner actually played on a team with him not all that long ago, but I haven't really had the chance to catch too many of his games. So I have cast and watched, however, Bro King, and I've also criticized him many times for being too humble in interviews. But his style of pocket is heavily influenced by one Mr. Blank, who may or may not be a special guest during the halftime. We don't know yet.
Or maybe he's just whispering in his ear the whole time. We're not sure. Of course, on the other side, Goldfish on Cafe Monster, very nearly tied. He's number 2 for DPM and IM and having a hell of a season, and just one of those standout kind of players. I'm not implying by any means that he carries the team, because the team is all around well, but when you have a pocket that's so strong and so powerful like that, and you don't have to worry about, isn't it nice to just be able to kind of set it and forget it, so to speak, not have to worry about your pocket being inconsistent? I mean, you speaking, I mean, you could probably appreciate that as a medic.
Yeah, have a pocket is sort of like the little wheel that turns the team. People used to say that a lot about demos, but if you have an inconsistent pocket or a pocket that doesn't really do pockety type things, then that pretty much changes the entire setup of your whole team. And, you know, some players aren't very adept at playing at that sort of style. It's been done before, and that's not to say having a less pockety pocket is impossible, but a lot of people just don't know how to deal with that. So you tend to find more players that can deal with a more pockety type pocket.
Pockety. Pockety's an adjective. We all know that. That's just a part of English. Do you want to run down the Meat Market roster real quick, sir?
Oh, sure I will. So we got the Meat Market. They have Jod on Medic and Jarrett on Demo. I bring them up first because they're sort of the new-ish additions to the old, maybe if you've seen the older Meat Market. You got Bro King on Pocket, Ranga coming in on Roamer. Ranga, pretty established player, good at a lot of things. Yeegs and Cheesy MacGyver are the scouts, and they were a really big part of this team's success when they were coming up through Open, especially.
Absolutely, and we were talking a bit about that earlier. On the other side, on Cafe Monster, and we talked about how this team is sort of more of an up-and-comer. They haven't quite been in IM. Certainly, geez, I don't know of any team that's been around in IM as long as Meat Market. But we have the Medic Soapy. We have the Demo Deska. As well, we have Goldfish, who we already spoke about playing Pocket. The Roaming Soldiers Purple Shirt. A lot of people know Purple Shirt as well, as it looks like maybe we might have waited too long to start this match. We'll see, though. We'll get that redone. The Scouts are High Five and Yomps. And High Five has actually been having a fantastic season as well. And in some of the past matches over the past little while has been really kind of a strong, real aggressive and really good at cleanup. And certainly, for me, I guess, on the Cafe Monster side, maybe the Scout to watch. And but that's Cafe Monster. So, what are we expecting to see here today as we oh, let's see. Apparently, Hooli, I'm getting word that maybe I see Hooli in there.
Oh.
Hooli might be playing for Ranga. And that's actually interesting because, as a lot of people know, Ranga is sort of one of the more experienced players in terms of his comp experience. He's played the most invite of anyone here. It's between him and Bro King. So I see Hooli in there, and it looks like, I don't know, maybe they're switching some stuff around. Maybe that's why they're taking a little longer. But we may have Hooli. Who would you rather have, Hooli or Ranga?
Well, I don't mean to bash on Hooli, but I'd probably take Ranga in the roamer position.
Yeah.
That's and I don't know that Hooli's been playing an awful lot lately, so that would be another part for my my decision there. But things come up. Your computer's uncooperative, your internet dies, you sleep too long, who knows? Or you go out and do crazy stuff, which I wouldn't put past Ranga, so we'll see. I don't think Hooli will hurt them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a roamer.
It's just roamer anyway. All you roamers out there, you've got the words right out of Marx's mouth. It's just roamer. Marxist doesn't care about roamers. I sort of always knew. Some people are saying he quit for Highlander. Maybe he quit for Highlander. Maybe we'll see him in Platinum Highlander next season. Who knows? At any rate, we are just getting ready to start up. So we are playing on Gully Wash. Unless you've been listening to me just in the background for the past little while, you'll see that we're doing Gully Wash today. And Gully Wash, where does it rank on your top list, Marxist? Are you a lover of it? It has kind of a nice, comfortable feeling, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, a lot of people don't like the old Gully Wash, but I actually like Gully Wash. A lot of my best matches were played on Gully Wash as well. I think part of it is people get really intimidated by the last. You don't really need to be intimidated by the last. You just have to play it a bunch.
Yeah, you think teams psych themselves out a little bit sometimes on Gully Last?
Well, what happens a lot on Gully Last is either teams take it way too slow and miss opportunities trying to do some fancy thing, or they get in a big rush because it's a hard last. So then they just start making crazy calls and decide to go, and then everybody gets all bunched up and confused, and then you wipe.
Yeah, sure, it's certainly possible, and what I'm wondering, Marxist, who's going to shine on this Gully Wash map? What positions shine on Gully, typically?
Well, generally, you're going to see a lot of play out of the combo. So it's going to be like your Mythic Pocket Demo will do a lot of work on Gully, and that's mainly a factor of the fact that Gully Wash only has 2 doors on the majority of the map. So Romer can do things at mid. He can do things if you get him in, but the problem is he's got to get through the 2 tiny doorways. There is that drop down there, but you can only utilize the drop down so many times in one match. So right. There's that, and Scouts can have a lot of trouble too, because you have to really get your... Either the Scouts really have to distract for the combo to get them in, or the other way around. And generally it's easiest for the combo to do that because they've got the Medi Beam. So that Gully Wash is mainly different in that it's got this 2-door format, so it's a little bit more difficult to do rotation plays, which are how most pushing is done in 6v6 on 5CP maps. So it's a little different.
Little different. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, we want to just welcome you. If you're just tuning in to teamfortress.tv, we are just waiting for this match to go live. We do have all players in server. We have the 2 undefeated teams in IM. It is Cafe Monster and Meat Market. Meat Market at 9-0, Cafe Monster 8-0, and one of those guys are going to have a loss tacked on there. It's not going to make a huge difference in sort of the big picture of the standings, but as Marxist and I alluded to, maybe a preview of playoffs as we come up and we get closer to that, and these teams are going to have to face off at least once more. So certainly, you can learn a lot about the other team kind of in this way and sort of get a feeling for what to expect as you go forward, because these guys haven't played each other this season. I don't know if they're scrim buddies or anything like that, but that's possible. But they haven't had any official match against each other so far this season. So be interesting to see what happens once we get to the playoffs. And you don't want to show your hand too much, but we'll see. I'm wondering what's taken us so long, Marxist.
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't know about showing your hand on Gully, because usually for playoffs in IM there isn't typically a pick band setup, so you're just gonna get named the map that you have to play, and typically Gully Wash doesn't really make it into that. I remember for 2-3 seasons in a row it was Granary and things like that. So then there was a bit of metagaming about, well, this is a good team, we may have to play them on Granary. Let's not show everything that we can do here. Mm-hmm. But I don't know about Gully. The big thing for me here is that both teams are currently undefeated, right?
Right.
And somebody's gonna take a loss. And the big deal there is, how do they deal with that? Do they just not care? Do they get upset and then they lose another game? And then you can kind of see, because this is the halfway point. It was bound to happen because of the way scheduling is done. It looks like they're actually, as I see it scrolling by, I'll interrupt myself, and it seems like they're talking about changing the server.
Yeah, I see
because they're having ping problems. But yeah, so what you see is some teams will get off to a really hot start, then they'll get blocked by another one of the favorites, and then that'll send them into a 2 or 3 game losing streak, and then that's when your once promising season has kind of been put in the toilet. But hopefully that doesn't happen to whoever ends up losing this one.
Yeah, you said it, and you nailed it by saying that it is the halfway point. Of course, if you don't know, guys, we play 16 to 16 match regular season in IM, and so, with 8 and 9 wins under these guys' belts, the season certainly, there's a little bit ahead, but I don't think either of these guys are too worried about slipping down out of the standings or whatnot. They'll certainly have favorable seeding once the playoff brackets are set. But, I think that when you have kind of maybe a rival like this, when you're maybe not running away with the division, and you're sort of, imagine if you're a Meat Market and you're in first place right now, you're certainly not comfortable at the top of the standings by any means. So if Meat Market can kind of widen up the lead a little bit, they would like to probably do that.
Yeah,
this all sounds
definitely
obvious,
nice.
It sounds obvious to say, but when you're actually in the position and when you're there and when you are the 9-0 team, it's a little different. Have you been on a team that ever was successful as this and was undefeated this far into the season,
No.
Marxist? I'm not trying to insult.
No. My seasons have been plagued with wackiness and other sorts of problems. I did get off to a 4-0 start one time. That was pretty nice. And then the team died because we lost a game.
Classic.
Yeah. So there's that. But it actually looks like we're gonna pick
sides.
We're gonna pick our colors for our British friends.
Colors, of course. Well, we are getting ready here, and so on this first middle, I think one of us should follow Mr. Bro King out, shouldn't we? Do you think that sounds right? Do you want to do it? Why don't you take this first middle?
Oh, sure. So I'll watch Bro King here. I actually have a whole video on how to play Gully Washington in his pocket. So we'll see how how Bro King chooses to approach this.
Live up to it.
He's got 3 options. We'll see which of the 3 he prefers to go for. So gonna get healed. Oh no, his crits buff is ruined. So this mid's already off to a real bad start, and he's doing wacky stuff going around that left side. But Purple Shirt picking it up, or actually Hooli rather, gonna get 2 big kills there, and that's not gonna make too much of a difference. Jod and Jarrett making their way out, the demo medic pair.
Now, Hulu there, it was quite impressive, actually. What he chose to do is to roll out underneath, and he just kind of chilled down underneath. Nobody kind of chose to do anything about him, and he just jumped up and real easy picked off 2. So now it is Cafe Monster looking pretty good right now, but both medics are still up, of course. You mentioned it. Jod is still up, and they're back. They're getting their little gun up and whatnot, and so we're off to a pretty good start here. No medics lost, no love lost between the teams, and we both got Uber here. We're playing fair and square so far.
Yeah, this is going to be your Gully Wash stalemate here. They're actually choosing to work into lower lobby, which is the more dangerous of the two options you have. But we'll see what they choose to do here, because most teams are going to opt to run some kind of a suicide. You've got Cheesy MacGyver on the util over there on Engineer, so actually I'm going to take a peek at their defense real quick. No, it doesn't look like they're doing anything too crazy. I know the forward hold came into vogue a while ago, and they're a little close to doing that.
Yeah, well, Jared is kind of holding down River, but he's let Purple Shirt get in now. When Purple Shirt is into River, he's going to back up a little bit, though. They're pretty much just fully running. I mean, their flank. Oh, here comes all of blue now. Cafe Monster are seeing maybe an opening down River and are thinking maybe of coming that way because it's completely... I mean, it's just Jared himself holding it down. If they can sneak in and get some damage on Jared. Purple Shirt now jumps down in River. And the Uber is in, meanwhile, at the main door. But watch that River and see, we might have some action there. Now they need that gun, and that came down right away. Both Ubers are still in. We've got Blue just stacking on the point. We've got Goldfish and Yomps just sitting on it. And they're underneath right now. They're going to come back up. Well, taking care of that was Yeeks and Cheesy MacGyver. And so 2 down from the side of Cafe Monster, and this pushes... It looked good in theory, Marxist, but you gotta follow up.
Well, like I said in the pregame, that was a classic example of a team rushing into Gully Wash last, because they saw Bro King die in the sticky trap and like, oh, we gotta go, and then the medic didn't know where the demo was, and he died and didn't get to help take down the gun, because usually when you do that, you're gonna have the demo help with the gun kill. So it just... and it went awry pretty much right to start, and then they tried to re-push even though they didn't have a demo, and now they're on mid with Uber disadvantage.
Yeah, and so the advantage right now is about 30%, and Jod certainly about to get it. He's at 90% right now and getting real close, and I kind of feel like they're... I'm looking at them and it feels like they want to be aggressive and come right out with this. So certainly they kind of lost the first mid. We haven't seen a round down yet, but I think Meat Market maybe wanting to take back a little bit of the momentum on this one. A little bit easier, a little bit more of a standard kind of situation here. This is the classic Gully moment, of course, and I mean, pretty good play. Meat Market just doing that Meat Market thing. They've got their flank held down pretty well. Who's going to get the pick? Should we start putting down money now on who gets the pick?
Yeah, so it's coming in now. Actually, they're going to force, and Jarrett is going to die. Wow. So this even Uber exchange went awry. The question I have is why Cafe Monster obliged popping their Uber into an Uber when they were the ones that held mid. Yeah. But now Bro King comes back in. We're going to lose our first medic victim here, but both are going to go down. It's just Cheesy trying to escape, having this scout 1v1, and he's not going to make it. High Five going to get him, and that's going to set us for maybe a last push. They should go in. It's just a demo.
Yeah,
this
Jared
is the
doing
best
his
fight
best
in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Jared's going to get down, and this is going to be a real easy round for Cafe Monster. As they do take it, there was a little bit of hesitation there for a second, but then they realized, you know, Marxist says we can go, so we'll go. So it is 1-0 Cafe Monster there in a pretty interesting round. Cafe Monster holding the upper hand for most of that. I'm looking at Goldfish on his middle, though. Goldfish going to maybe pretty much just mirror what we saw on the Bro King rollout last time. See if Goldfish has any better luck here as he pops right up, and he's got no one to look at. A little bit of lag on the server. I don't know if that's me or the server. Hoolie's up above, and Hoolie trying to do that thing again. He gets one big quick pick. Goldfish is down now. There's only 2 players left up on Cafe Monster, and they're in no man's land right now. Soapy in a bit of trouble, and Deska. They're going to be chased down, and then they're both good. Oh, Deska's going to survive. Nice aggressive chasing there. Deska got the pick on Hoolie. But looks like Meat Market want blood. They want blood!
Yeah, if they're real now, the spawns didn't really help them out here, so they're just gonna cap it and go across. But yeah, that's, I mean, it was okay there to push down because you don't get any real benefit from stacking mid, so you may as well because it's just a demo and a med. But we should see the Uber come in here, Getawhale, because You're pretty much not going to get a better... Wow, they popped really early.
Really early. And there's nowhere to go with this Uber right now. I don't think they can get any picks off of this whatsoever. They're going to try to halfway muddle it out. Do you muddle this out, Marxist, or you just forget about it?
Your demo's not going to have enough health to be in this fight, so no. And Yeegs is going to go down. Now you're in danger because you don't have one of your scouts to watch lower, and they're going to push them out of lobby. So Meat Market wisely backing up, but again, they got in a really big hurry.
Yeah, they're almost there. They're lucky they didn't get pinched here, as a matter of fact, as Cafe Monster kind of took their time coming out. Kind of maybe a little bit of indecision, maybe just a split second of indecision by Meat Market there. They should have come out a little sooner, but they should be fine. Now it's really on Cafe Monster to push out through this choky area. We wouldn't be surprised if they cycled around, and it looks like Meat Market's going to give it to them. They know Uber's in their face.
Yeah, and that's actually the best case scenario here for Cafe. They're going to try to force the Uber now, but it's going to get blocked, yeah. If you pop your Uber over second, it's really hard to not end up losing the round.
Well, there's the force, though, a little early here. I don't know if they're expecting sticks or what. They're going to just chase him out and pop right back in return, and Meat Market... Oof, they really... My math says they should have got the better out of that Uber, but they didn't. Desco was in super deep and just kind of chased them out almost single-handedly.
Yeah, there were two guys trying to come through choke, and he just stickied it up, and they couldn't come through. So that I don't know if that was like really good spawn timing, or they just really lucked out on that, because that was not the bestest Uber timing ever. But it turned out. So now we're at a sort of like a dead ball situation where they could push on Cafe if they wanted to, or they may just not.
I think they're smart enough. They're getting pretty aggressive here. Now Goldfish smartly bails out to the drop down, as he would have been in trouble if not. And yeah, this is a bit of a first time we've been here at this second choke with even Ubers. So it's really now up to, who has the balls, and a lot of action on flank, as a matter of fact. Looks like Meat Market maybe thinking of coming through. Their push is coming through flank right now, and it's real early on the Uber. I don't know if Cafe Monster's going to be ready for it right now.
Well, that was a test.
Was it? Yeah. Well, they nearly committed there, and finally now the Uber's popped off here, and Soapy getting real bad. Got to grab the medium pack, and still no four. Oh, finally the force comes out on the other side, and who's going to get the better of this one? Cheesy MacGyver taking this one in on Scout and trying to take it alone, but no presence at all by Meat Market, and they're not going to get anything off of this Uber, Marxist.
Well, they killed Goldfish, and now they have a player advantage. But so they're going to work their way in now. And it's going to be hard for Cafe to hold this, so it looks like they're going to give it up. There we go. We got a quick rotation coming down from Bro King on the left side. That was the right call, but his team didn't come through there fast enough with him. So that was a good call there by Bro King, but it didn't have enough support to succeed.
Yeah, and so now Cafe still trying to look, purple shirt scouting out, seeing if there's anything possible on this flank. Yeegs is there, though. The Uber, Blue has their Uber right now. That's Cafe Monster, and getting a little bit close. Meat Market will have theirs here shortly. I don't think that any team is going to, it's kind of a negligible advantage. It's up to, who can sort of outposition the other. It was pretty nice, I've got to admit, that Meat Market was impressive that they worked their way out. Haven't seen any crits or shenanigans or a lot of off-classing yet, except at last. And here comes a push again, and it looks like they are going to commit to this one, maybe? Purple Shirt, meanwhile, jumps up out of harm's way. They spotted this out. I mean, it's very predictable. That's why we see so many of these stalemates.
Well, they tried to do a rushdown push in the flank area, and the thing about the left side on Gully Wash is if you're trying to do that and you see a heal beam, or generally the demo, that'll belie the location of the heal beam usually, then you just can't do it. Like, here we go, there we go, there was no heal beam, quick rush down on a player that was up in there. Now they've got their player advantage, but they lose Hooli.
They're backing out. And Hooli's down, and Purple Shirt was up above, getting ready on bats to drop down if need be, and he's been doing that quite well. In terms of positioning, I mean, I'm not seeing a whole lot of mistakes, Marxist, and that's what it comes down to for me, is sometimes what you see is if somebody makes a mistake in positioning, if they're in the wrong spot or they're not doing their job, that'll lead to someone getting through, but I'm seeing just really good coverage from both sides.
Yeah, that time what happened is you had a scout in the flank that was at the lead in the flank, and he got rushed down by 3 players. We've actually got a dipper here, I think. No, he came back out. Well, that's no fun. Sometimes I like to call it dipping when you, oh, they're actually going to pop their Uber, so I'll explain what that is later. But
Yeah.
the Uber exchange has not happened yet, and this is really bad news bears.
And Yeags is in behind. Yeags is in river right now, believe it or not, and blue side. I don't know how he managed to get up there, but Yeags is up there, and finally he gets finished off by purple shirt. I didn't catch how he got up there. Meanwhile, we did have the blue Uber now is expiring, and they should be able to very easily, they'll Deska right up in the face and trying to scare, maybe get a lucky pick there. But talk to us, Marxist. Talk to the people.
Yeah, so dipping is when a player goes into lobby and then goes for a flank, or tries. Usually people will realize you're in lobby and then they'll panic and do something stupid. So that's pretty much the whole purpose of that. But now we've got the meat market with their Uber advantage onto. It's a pretty tough sell to come off of to an Uber into mid or push into mid without something unpleasant happening. So we'll see what they do.
We will see what they do because they have their Uber and it popped super early. They want the medic real close here. It is Soapy right in the face, gets the scalp, but can't. Oh, finally gets Soapy. Real Broking took about every piece of buckshot he had in order to get the Soapy pick. He's going to try to get a scout now if he can. There's only 2 up on. Make that 1 up on Cafe Monster. It worked out pretty well. Broking kind of the star of that one, but nice cleanup as well from the scouts. What did you see?
Yeah, when you get a decisive fight like that where you kill the enemy team's medic in a clear Uber advantage situation, that's gold. That's exactly what you want to have happen. But we're actually gonna find a hiding Deska on 2, and that's that should basically be the round. They need to push the last now before there's a demo man.
Yeah, we have the Deska's laughing about it. I guess he is having a good time, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Having fun. Who's having the most fun?
I can't answer that question. But I would have pushed the last even without the Uber because they didn't have a demo and that gun was tiny.
Yeah,
but
we
now
obviously
you know
got it on
there's
camera.
a big old gun.
This shout out to Dashner for getting on cam. The Uber is in, and we're going to try it well. They get the demo. They're going to try to get Deska as well. They get Deska, and that's 2 big faces down, and that was really fast. They had a scout on it the whole time. And real impressive work by Meat Market, just kind of, standing on that point works sometimes.
Yep, they made up for their earlier mistake pushing last. They did that one basically textbook.
Yeah, I think they had great focus fire. They targeted who they needed to target, and it worked out great. I've got Broking here now. Do you want to, let's see what he does on this rollout, because we already saw him beef 1 on camera. He's going to roll up elbow, as a matter of fact, and all he's got there is purple shirt, which is unfortunate, so he rolled the dice and rolled it wrong. He does get the pick on the scout, though. Broking's still in behind. Hooli was doing work meanwhile, and actually Jared doing a lot of picks as well. Jared, of course, a demo. He went down, but got 1 or 2, and Hooli now cleans up the med. That's a wipe.
Yep, full wipe. So, and the med is alive on the meat market, so there is a chance that we're going to see them climb to Riverside and just go in, because they basically had an almost ace. But they're actually going to take it slow.
Hooli's just in river chilling. Hooli's like jittering around like he had 10 coffees and a Red Bull. He's just dying to go in, but he's going to think better of it. They're going to wait. They're going to play this right. Meat Market know what they're doing. They're in underneath now. A little bit interesting that they came in through the left door. Oh, and they get popped super early. I didn't see what popped them there, Marxist.
Well, that's the second time that's been done, but it doesn't seem to be affecting them as badly this time. So we got some fighting down on the low ground, but the demo is on the high ground for the meat market. So things might be okay, but they're starting to lose positioning there. They don't have any draw. They're going to lose their med here now. Yes, that's a disaster. They lost that point pressure, and then Blue just ran over whoever they wanted to. That's that'll happen sometimes at last. So it started out promising, and then it petered out.
Wiperino. So it's kind of heads or tails for Meat Market on how their pushes are going so far. They're killing it sometimes. They're at a huge disadvantage now. So how is Soapy and how are Cafe Monster going to play this? Are they going to be able... Well, they're going to get mid, certainly, but... What is going to happen after that? Are they going to have a real quick push in, or are they going to... Well, here we have Uber popped off already, and mid's not taken, but I don't like this. Broking is just standing in behind. Look at Broking. Broking just waiting up above and is going to jump in on the med and hopefully get Soapy here. Cheesy MacGyver in to follow. They haven't gotten Soapy yet, but they've got a lot of picks. Deska and both soldiers are down, but it's down to 3v2 right now, and as a matter of fact, this could go either way, Marxist. High 5 is in. He wants to use MacGyver against the medium pack. High five with the pistol out goes down. Wow, that escalated quickly.
Yeah, the push there, that was the right call from Cafe to push in there. But
Yeah.
their pocket Goldfish just got out there way far, and they were trying to meet their demo and others in the flank, which that is a tactic people use on Gully Wash, but it was kind of read by Meat Market, and they just pushed into Cafe's not Ubered flank that was expecting a medic.
Broking stood up on the balcony and just stood there and watched Blue walk past him, and nobody even knew. So shout out to Broking for just, making use of those spots. Now Red takes mid right back, and the Uber is slightly slanted to the Meat Market, and we'll see again. So far they've had okay luck with their pushes. Certainly they're in an okay position here, but they don't want to lose Hooli. Feels like Hooli's gone down one or two times when it's been important, doesn't it? Not to hate on Hooli, but certainly we talked about how he's filling in, but still.
It's just the roamer. You expect for him to be dead at least 50% of the time, so like you should at least have a contingency plan for your roamers too dead to be alive.
Well, certainly let's hope that if Hooli does sack in, that at least, someone will go down if you're a fan of the Meat Market. We'll see Broking is in way, there's a little bit of action happening now in lobby. Broking was with the medic and wants to get a pick, tries to get the force on Soapy and is in, and finally now Soapy pops his. We've got this encounter happening in Yard, and we've got Jod completely separated and lost Broking, so Broking's going to go down, and I don't know if that'll be all they lose or not. They tried to sort of come in through lobby, and what were they thinking? Were you watching that?
Well, yeah, what Broking was thinking there was, I have to do something or my medic's gonna die.
Come around back.
So he went into the little shutter door because he knew that they couldn't just leave him back there, so they had to go kill him, and that allowed Jod to not get turned into tiny bits of meat.
Yeah, well, it's great to survive, but lost Broking. Now, fortunately for them, it wasn't the end of the world, but they've got to hold down now. Purple Shirt goes down, and actually 3 players in Cafe Monster going down real quick there. I saw Purple Shirt go down. High five went at the same time, and geez, Yomp's trying to make something happen as well. What do we got going on here? Deska, meanwhile, is back at mid. Getting a little scattered about here now, and they're going to back up. I think they know that Uber's in their face, but Cafe Monster, they're about to get theirs as well. And so, question of who's going to pop first, and on this mid, it's tough to kind of pop around the whole mid. It's a wide open area, and they, despite that, they got the pop on Cafe Monster, and it really looks like Meat Market, are getting the better of this one as Deska's sort of all alone, lone wolfing it. What are you seeing?
Well, we got big fights going out here on the dance floor, as I like to call it, and Meat Market ends up losing out on that. So it was a nice defensive idea from Cafe Monster. They just sort of used their Uber as a wedge there to stop the Meat Market, because Meat Market didn't want to engage them, because they didn't want to pop their Uber over mid when they were already so far in, and they just didn't get the better end of it.
And Goldfish now has already been in and checked for sticks and whatnot, so they know what they're looking at, Cafe Monster do. Although, a lot of pressure in the face. Hooli came right up, and actually Goldfish went down to Broking, it looked like, although Hooli was there in the face on balcony. And now the Cafe Monster team cycling up, but they're going to get out of there. They're sensing that Goldfish being down is enough, and real aggressive by Meat Market, I've got to say, pushing out here.
Yeah, you're just trying to bother them to buy time, and it looks like they're gonna get it. If you can get a second kill, you can develop that into a push, but I don't think that's... The Cafe Monster's far enough back, I don't think that's gonna happen unless some sort of miracle shot occurs, yeah.
Just
looks like
find a
they're
bit of space.
Back.
Yeah. Haven't seen a lot of sniping, and I'm wondering, is there a reason for that or not, but there's been no sniping so far. Sniper, pretty popular in last, and it's a good equalizer, possibly, if you can pull it off. Soapy's in now, they're back into lobby, and trying to think about it. They've got Deska here. Let's see what they're thinking. Of course, this is given plenty of time for the gun to go up. It's just very comfortably a level 3. Broking coming way out, and Purple Shirt getting kind of up in the face a little bit there. A lot of damage actually done to the Cafe Monster team, and look at Broking, just lone wolf. Broking's got balls.
Meat Market's running a really nice pinch play on the top lobby deck sort of area. Purple Shirt gonna try to suicide in and get auto-cannoned. So.
Yeah, nothing happened, so that was a completely pointless sack, and now Broking comes out to try to make something happen, but gets cleaned up, and Yeags, meanwhile, went down, I believe, on the flank. So much for Meat Market being able to come out here, and despite having no purple shirt. Oh, they're thinking of coming right in, so with 5 players, Cafe Monster are going to come in. They're going to target the gun, of course, first. They're going to back Cheesy MacGyver back in. The red Uber pops out now as well. Deska trying to rain hell down. They still have this height advantage, although there's still an Uber combo down there. They're going to try to get some sticks now. High Five is just right on the point. It's going to back up, and they're going to get this point. High Five, give High Five the credit there, who just sort of did the dirty work down in the trenches.
Yeah, Broking's play there wasn't a bad idea, but, you know, they lost another player, so...
Well, it failed, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeeks
so...
going down. Well, Yeeks had no way to know what was going on, but losing 2, you know, 5v4, the team with 5, pulling it off. Now, Hooley's rolling out again underneath. I'm going to watch his bomb to see if he can pull off something big, but it looks like Cafe Monster playing back a little bit, and I don't think he's going to have any range. Meanwhile, I'm looking at... Who we got here? I'm looking at Deska, who's still down below and not really in a position to do anything here. So Deska going to try to come back up. Both teams just trying to stick it out there. It's 4v4 right now, but a lot of height advantage for Cafe Monster, and out goes Meat Market, thinking of just coming right out that big door. They waited a little bit. They took a bit of damage. Jaw down to 50. They're going to back out. Both meds still up in 4v4. Of course, a little bit of a spawn advantage. Meat Market got all theirs up. What did you like there?
Who's
the star on
the two teams are fighting over the very middle of the point?
Yeah,
because there's a lot of action going on in the very middle, and that's kind of rare to see. So we'll see if they keep doing that. Maybe it's a development, because I am relative to the other divisions will develop quirks that you basically don't see anywhere else, and that's because the teams play each other so much. You end up having to invent unique things.
Time check, Marxist. We've got about 8 minutes left in this half. By the way, it is 2-1 for Cafe Monster, who technically, even though they're undefeated, they're the number 2 team. They have 1 less win than Meat Market, but looking good right now. They're up 2-1, and certainly they'll want to go into half at least at 2-1. Looking right now, we've got a little bit of action. Just sort of jockeying for position right now a little bit. Broking has been playing real aggressive, and he comes right in. He wants Soapy. He's got Goldfish right in his face, and nice catch. That was a fantastic save by Soapy, holding on to Goldfish there and sort of nullifying this. And Broking, I'm seeing him getting separated a lot, and he's in behind. He's got the support of his scouts though, and sort of an impromptu scout rush there on the side as Hooley gets a pick on Deska, the demo. Still an advantage in terms of numbers is Cafe Monster, and they're doing quite well. I got to give credit to Soapy, who had a fantastic Uber there and real great timing and just doing a great job. Do you almost give the edge to Soapy so far in terms of med?
Well, yeah, the Uber pop there wasn't bad from Meat Market. They had good damage on Goldfish, but then they just really didn't get any other pressure from anywhere else. You've got to either have a buffed up flank, or the med has to drop down to flank, or something has to happen over there, and it's hard to get that going. For a push-in like that, I'd actually want to rotate to flank, because the Cafe team was pushed up to choke, so then you guarantee yourself an easier fight.
Yeah, well,
or at least a more chaotic one.
Yeah, Broking, as I mentioned, he kind of snuck down through elbow and actually teamed up with his scouts and pulled that off. But we've got, again, Ubers at mid, and we've been living at this mid. Broking is down below, though. Goldfish got to come down, jump back up. Really getting not much off of this is Meat Market, but expecting possibly here, well, they lost the Yeags, and so maybe we won't have a repush after all. They're going to try to get up and at least show a presence on that bats, but Hooley's going to see if he can just sort of lay down some rockets. We've got someone in behind. It's Broking. Broking is back at mid. He got up on his respawn. He's down to 5 and gets cleaned up, so bad luck for Broking there. We've got about a 20% Uber advantage now for Red, which is advantageous, certainly for them. They've just barely now. Cheese MacGyver coming up on Engineer. So they're going to have maybe a bit of time to get a bit of a gun up, but certainly they're, you know, unless a miracle happens, they'll have an Uber on defense.
Yeah, they'll have enough time for the gun. One thing I want to point out, just in case Dashner caught it on the camera, was in that first Uber to mid where Broking went down into the ramp room and died. He was trying to juggle Soapy into his own choke so that the medic would get trapped. That was pretty great. I haven't seen that done too often, and every time it happens, it's incredibly frustrating for the med player who is being juggled into the opposing team.
Yep, and then we have the Sack, who Purple Shirt tried to come in against the gun, and Hooley actually comes in and just kind of sacks himself on defense. Now, both teams do have Uber here. Look for Cafe Monster to just come right in. They're going to lead. They're going to lead in here. We've got Deska. Going to take Deska and the soldier in, and got to get that gun down first. Deska's just heading right down to that point, and the red combo chasing in. They're chipping away that point, but I think that Meat Market are smart enough to just get that presence shut down, and they're going to really close it out. Although we've got Yomps down there still, and Deska. Meat Market's got a problem, and it's that last point. They get Deska cleaned up, and that. Ooh, I don't know though. We've got 4v3 here. Cheesy MacGyver's still on that point. He's doing it pretty well. He's got a little 3K. He's going to come up and get the soldier, and it's only Soapy left. A fantastic defense there, and 5 of those kills by Cheesy MacGyver. So fantastic cleanup by Cheesy MacGyver, who maybe the standout scout to me on the Meat Market and possibly in this match so far.
Yeah, that last push. That as far as like set plays, where like you go here, you do that. We're gonna see a push into mid here. I guess I should say that real quick. But I don't think a whole lot's gonna happen here. They're just gonna pretty much let it go. But that's one of the few actual set plays that like every team basically runs.
Well, let's talk about this as we have the red Uber popped off here. What's the set play when the gun is there? Because obviously there's 2 variations on the river push in. You'll lead with your scout, or you'll have your jumper first. Like, what's the set play when you have a gun like that that's kind of shutting that stuff down? Does it change?
No. So what you do with the set play is we actually got a little bit of a fight at mid,
yeah,
so they're interrupting me,
we'll
but they're gonna get I'll talk about it later. But Meat Market's basically gonna get wiped out.
Yeah, Yomps just cleaned up the med at the end of that. Bro King got one little pick, but Deska gonna group back up here now, and they'll be able to easily hold this down. It doesn't change though with the Medigun. How do you go about it?
No, so what you do is you go in and you have a scout and the demo run at the point. The scout triggers the point, and they go, oh no, there's a scoot on our point. And then the demo runs onto the point and stickies it off so that they can't step on the point to stop your scout capping. And then a soldier will bomb the point and kill all the people that are afraid of the sticky trap.
Yeah, we've seen Deska
and then you win.
We've seen Deska going underneath a whole lot, and Deska typically the strat for Cafe Monster. I mean, they're running a demo under, they have a scout with them, and they kind of just chill out under there until they have more players, and they easily pull it off. So let's see where the push comes from this side. Meat Market on their last again. They're trying some different stuff. Jared is setting up sticks on last. Trying to think of ways to set this. Actually, there was another. Wow, he just got 1 kill off of that. He got purple shirt. But Jared trying to do all the work. He's trying. Oh, he gets a nice pipe onto Deska, and that was great. And Jared actually doing fantastic work there, and should hopefully be able to hold this last down. Give a lot of credit there to Jared, who is definitely showing that he's racking his brain trying to figure out what to do with that last. Did you see the same thing as me? What was going on up above?
Yeah, he was sneaking back there.
Yeah.
Bro King was in your typical spot on the ring. That's a pretty good spot for the pocket to go. So, and there was actually a scout up there on the ring with him, and they had a pretty cool little tightrope walking fight for a little bit going. But eventually, the Meat Market was the winner of that day. But it sounds like we have a sniper in Yomps.
Yomps was standing in spawn. He had the door held open for him. He took 1 shot with the op and failed. So much for that. He's back out though now. We had as well. Purple Shirt was thinking about spy. I don't know what was going on with that. He was actually out on the field as spy before he decided to come back into spawn. And so yeah, sometimes the spawn waves in the flow just doesn't work out. Maybe we will see spy again later on, and maybe we will see some more sniping. I don't know. Meanwhile, Hooli is in, and Hooli's been playing really aggressive. Actually, both soldiers on the Meat Market have been playing super aggressive kind of all night long, Hooli and Bro King. Hooli's down, and it seems like he's always the first one there to the fight. His team joins up with him, and real early pop story as Soapy pops at almost the exact same time. And again, we have Yomps down underneath, and as a matter of fact, we've got a heavy, the first sign of a heavy, holding down that last point. So going not so much with the stationary gun, we have the walking gun, and Soapy hanging in there and really getting out heals to that scout and that demo, but Jared is still in there and Yeek's still in there, and Soapy going to try to maybe even the score here with a nice little crossbow shot. It worked out. Cafe Monster, we haven't seen them on their own last too much, but certainly the heavy came out, really kind of a non-factor there. And now it's sort of incumbent on the blue team. Now we get to the end of the half there. Yeah, we get there. So Cafe Monster, I guess they got a little bit of a preview of what it feels like to be on defense on their own last. Certainly seemed like maybe a little scattered, but we get to half. It is 2-1 for Cafe Monster. Let's talk about what we've seen as I have a look at the stats here. And as the viewers at home have a look at the stats.
Yeah, and we may or may not be having a special consultant come in the form of Blank.
Oh, okay.
There he is.
Oh, the man himself. Blank, welcome.
Hello.
We heard you're a consultant in this match.
Consultant, sure.
Yeah. Well, what do you got? Give it to us.
Well, from what I can see, Meat Market on their Uber advantages, they're kind of like, Broken kind of gets deep, but like, it seems like he ends up solo and trades damage on quite a few people, but frags never really come of it. I'd really like to see him do like double soldier Ubers on this map. If you're trying to kill the medic, I believe they're very, very powerful. And like Cafe Monsters seem to kind of keep Meat Market in check in these transitions, and that's really how they're kind of pulling ahead on them. As a lot of the times, Meat Market seems to try to take these post-Uber engagements, and Cafe Monsters just kind of has their number there. So
yeah,
I feel like, you know, maybe trying to play the pick game and slow it down or something like that, or cleaning up their Uber exchanges would definitely benefit them.
I agree with that. That's the biggest thing that I've kind of seen. There's been so many times that Broking goes in and gets separated because Jod very smartly gets out alive, and Broking is just kind of stuck in there. And that's got to be frustrating to Hooli as well, who's sort of, you know, he is a roamer, but you'd like to have a little bit of cooperation. It's been working okay. I mean, Broking has a ton of damage, and he has 353 DPM, which is amazing. He's leading all players, but it's Team Fortress, right, guys?
Yes, and sometimes the damage, this is something I used to talk to Demo Man about when I would mentor him, is like, the damage you're doing, is your team actually able to follow up and do anything? If the answer is no, then it's actually irrelevant damage. Like, as you've seen, his positioning on the post-Ubers, like, he's getting a lot done, but, like, it's not benefiting his team, or his team isn't able to play around it, so, you know, they need to make some slight adjustments. And, I mean, he's definitely playing a good game and having an impact, but the team, you know, is not doing as well as they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, floor is yours right now, Blank. The teams are not all readied up yet. I mean, what would you like to see out of Cafe Monster? Just keep doing the same thing they're doing. They seem to have it figured out, and they seem like they're really comfortable, don't they?
Yeah, that they do. They kind of seem to like those post-Uber fights, the heavy transitions. That kind of favors them. It's a map like Gully Wash where they're kind of just taking these scrappy fights and really kind of punishing Meat Market, and I think Meat Market's not entirely prepared for that. I think if they keep kind of playing the game as they are, they're probably going to end this game with a 5-3 win in their back pocket.
There you go. We got the Pred out of Blank. What did you think of that half? Let's get you in on this, Marxist, sir.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has already been covered. I'd say one of the big things for Meat Market here is a lot of these fights, either Broking's having to die to get his medic out, or he's getting kind of screwed up. We're actually starting the second half here, so that's happening. But then they force the issue and take a secondary fight that they already have a disadvantage in, and then lose badly.
Yeah, well, listen, Blank, thanks for joining us here, and let's, Marxist, do you want to call this mid, sir? We're here, we're back, we're live, 3-1 Cafe.
Alright, so we got a lot of the Meat Market on the ground. They're now going to come up, but an arrow shot comes out. Hooli gets blasted on the ground by Purple Shirt, and that's pretty much going to be the mid there. So Meat Market is going to take it. Deska and Purple Shirt were lost for Cafe. Yomp's actually going to bleed to death due to an evil, horrible thing that Cheesy MacGyver did to him. And the Ubers are even, but they've got a man advantage over on the Meat Market, but I guess they don't really care about that.
No, you know, Marxist, the thing that really strikes me looking at the stats and the numbers, both the individual stats and the team stats for this, is both teams are very even on things like damage and frags. The only highlight, the only difference that I'm seeing that stands out is Broking kind of not hogging, but is sort of solo and lone wolfing it maybe a little too much, and otherwise these teams are very evenly matched, and I really think that Meat Market could come back and take a few rounds in a row here if they can work together, but Hooli currently is down. I did not catch it. I really think that they've got a chance. If anyone, by the way, in chat, we didn't ask for Preds in chat, but give us your predictions, who you think is going to win this one, guys, and scores. And you won't win anything good, but, you know, you'll win, you know, you can brag, you can go post about it on TFTV. That counts, right?
Yeah, we actually have attempts at rotation play here. So it's coming in now. They're just going to go with it now. And Jod's going to get blasted to go meet Broking on the Uber there. And now they're going to Uber in the rest of the team. This is good. No, the team is coming. The cavalry has arrived.
It's not a bad decision in this case because here comes the cavalry. And Broking at least wanting to get one more rocket. He could have finished off the med there, but they do get the full wipes. This is what they need. This was perfect in this case. Broking picked the right time, and he picked it perfectly, didn't he? They're already on last. This is all Meat Market. This is what I'm talking about. They must have been listening to Blank's analysis during half.
Yeah, that's possible. They got Broking in and deep, and then they turned the whole team around, and there was more team to come and shoot them in the back.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
That just hasn't been there.
Well, it's perfect, and so I'm looking at Broking now, who's going to be super excited. We're going to see what he gets off of this mid. He's jumping right away. Let's see, he's going to try to patrol this mid a little bit. He sees most of Cafe at his left. He got distracted by a scout. Meanwhile, Hoolie's up above and is taking a lot of damage, goes down. Soapy playing back. Soapy, sorry, he gets... Purple shirt went down. I mean, that's everyone on Meat Market. What the hell happened?
They got bottled up in choke, and that can happen. They didn't really... Hoolie tried to jump, got rejected, and did a neat little skip jump backwards, but we might actually see a pretty close round to the last one. Just flip-flopped for red going in and messing up blue's pots and pans.
They're turning into a heron. It's 6 herons versus 6 players. We've got the gun up. We've got B Market on last. What else is new? That's not rude to say, is it? We've got Goldfish got popped off right in lobby, was flying up at nothing. They are going to get... Oh, we've got Pyro actually makes an appearance as well, and this will blast back on Goldfish, which is nice. Goldfish kind of stuck in no man's land right here. Oh, it does get the pick, though, on Broking, which is nice, but Cafe Monster left with 2, and we've got Yomps doing a little sneaky snake move. He's up above. He's going to try to take Hooli out here. Misses the shot. Hooli gets him, but nice try by Cafe Monster. No dice, though. You know, trying isn't what works in ESEA.
Yeah, they needed to be a lot snappier about that. Oh, but we got the back cap, maybe, possibly. No, it's not going to happen. They're committed. They're going to try to get this. He's running away now, but that's actually bought Goldfish and a lot of his compatriots a bit of space here, as they're able to hold second. Oh, the Uber now comes out. I don't like that. Ubers on second are a bad idea a lot of the time.
Well, aside
so
from that,
see where it goes.
Meat Market, so many of your players were hurt, and I don't know if Jod was aware of that or not, but there are only 3 players up now, which is not the position. I mean, Yeegs went down right off the bat. Jarrett went down soon after, and now they're just kind of hanging out. It was kind of just Ubered for no reason. Now, they're going to have an advantage, luckily, because Soapy did go down, but... That was kind of ugly. That was not ideal, because now they're just chilling here again. They're going to hang out here on bats and do that little thing, but surprised we haven't seen crits yet. This would have been an okay spot for crits, wouldn't it? For red?
I mean, it'd be pretty close because of where the advantages are. But yeah, I don't know. That turned out okay. They actually ended up sort of splintering red. And there was a lot of red stuck in lobbies, so it turned out okay. That's not a bad time to Uber. It just it scares me a little bit sometimes. They're going for the underpush. You very rarely see the underpush. So here we go, and we've already lost a scout, and the Uber is forced.
I'm not impressed so far, as Broking just very nearly gets caught back up by Jod, and Jod doing his best, but Jod is down to 50. He's only got 3 other teammates up, make that 2, and he goes down. That's not, if you're watching out there, that's not how you make IM with the drop-down push. What? that was ugly, Marxist.
Yeah, and Goldfish actually throwing out the smack talk saying, sick push. Yeah, you don't, when you have Uber advantage of the quality that Meat Market had, you don't want to just Uber in one guy through the drop-down, so... That's kind of a deserve of the round loss there. Just a little reminder that that's not the proper way to do things.
Yeah, Cafe Monster now, I incorrectly earlier said 3-1. It was actually 2-1, and so it's now 3-2. And we've got plenty of time left in this half. I'm watching Broking on this middle to see what they can do. They are still down, and they've got to take a few. They had a bit of momentum, but they've failed another few pushes. Broking's way left this time. Once they get the... Oh, and now Soapy was in no man's land. It gets taken out right away. Purple shirt getting a lot of damage as well, although nice cleanup. Give credit there to the scouts, and give credit to all of Cafe Monster, who Really great focus fire, and the scouts did a lot of work on that mid. You must have seen it as well, sir.
Yeah, the other big thing other than the scouts bottled them up, but Goldfish came up through drop down and was apparently, it wasn't known about because the demo and med were just chilling there, not expecting to die from a soldier coming out of drop down. So Jod and friends lost their lives there for that.
Well, it's very fortunate that Soapy didn't go down because Soapy, as I say, was separated and got popped up and was, you know, probably a little bit of pee came out, but luckily lives, and now Cafe Monster looking really good, and they're going to be able to push in. High five, going to check underneath, and the boys are just coming right along. They're going to come through river as they have all throughout this match. Deska just chilling behind. They're going to try to prevent any rat plays that might try to come through. Anything coming through? No, there's no crazy rat plays. There's nothing insane. We just have the gun up at last. We have Meat Market on last, as they have done so well all night. Give hearts to Meat Market for their ability to stand on last. Their own last, that is. They've got Uber now. They're looking to come out with it. Hooli, nice little death there. And actually, Goldfish went down off camera. Wasn't watching. Hooli's down at Shutter Door. Did you see Goldfish?
Yeah, he got killed in Riverside in a sticky trap. They were just peeking up. So you'd run that as a suicide. I like that Meat Market gets aggressive here. That's sort of, you know, something that I'm sure Blank has pressed them to do over the years. So, but now they're just trying to establish some sort of a forward hold. You can do that on this map, but it's not really worth it because you've already got Uber. But they are going to get high five, and Hooli's going to die. So, no offense to Hooli, but they got the better end of that trade.
Yeah, stop dying if you're Hooli. Hooli, although, I mean, he's not dying an inordinate amount of time. It's not like he's leading in deaths or anything like that. He's holding his own. He's doing well. But it just seems like he's dying at important times, doesn't it?
Well, that was fine. That was a fine death. And losing your roamer over a scout, I would trade the roamer pretty much every time.
Yeah. Jarrett is moved out of river, and they've left an opening here for Cafe Monster, who just very easily spam out the gun. Jarrett has been the only one holding down river on these last defenses by Meat Market, which I find interesting because, I mean, it makes sense because there's a gun watching that area, but now there's no gun and maybe a push possible through river. Thinking about it as Cafe Monster. They've got a sniper up. They're waiting for high five to get that shot if they can, but he just takes this easy rocket, and he's been very much spotted out now. Jarrett trying to play the geometry game and to try to get sticks up in the right spot to hit high five, but he's got heals on him. And now the Ubers are popped off, and we've got a lot of action. They came up through behind, and kind of an interesting play by Meat Market, who kind of maybe caught them off guard. They've actually lost Jarrett, though, and now Cafe Monster, they've got Purple Shirt just stacking down on point. A lot of presence there, though. Meat Market, lots of presence, but they're losing everyone. Yeegs is still on there. He's got to... I've seen you win these, Yeegs. I've seen you win these. We've got the Uber Saws out. Broking last man standing. Very impressive defense there, and lucky, though. You can't call that skill when everyone on the field goes down except one. But certainly an impressive fight there on that last.
Yeah, they had a good last push going. They had a lot of draw to middle, and then the demo was getting the spam, and then then you're dead. So,
well, how about the play in from behind? That was kind of ballsy out of Meat Market.
Yep, to
bringing
wrap
the Uber
around.
up. Yeah. I mean, they've played it really passive this whole match. They haven't really done anything crazy like that. But I guess as time goes on, we are in the second half now. You gotta go for it. I think they feel comfortable wrapping. I mean, that's nothing out of the ordinary, really.
Yeah, if it weren't a last, it would just be called a rotation. But
Right.
I guess maybe they're sick of the two-dooredness of second and mid, and so they just had to get it out of their system, and it worked out great.
Did work out great. So right now, certainly, Cafe Monster just sitting here. They feel quite good. They're about to get their Uber, so the advantage is negligible. In comes Yeeks, though. Yeeks going to try to... He's creating a little bit of space here and might get taken out, actually, but Yomps will think better of it. A little bit of a staggered, a little bit of a sloppy... Oof, they lost Yeeks. Don't know what I think there. I can appreciate what he's trying to do, make some space, but they're down a scout now.
Well, they knew it was close, so they sent the scout in first, and...
Well, here's all Cafe Monster. They're all in through big door, and that was so perfectly played. As soon as they got the scout down, they knew the door was open. They knew that they'd either come in through big door, the flank, or they'd come in through choke, and they've got to get the better of this Uber, though, here now. Cafe Monster have got to fight this out, and not going so well so far. They lost Deska and Purple Shirt. And actually, Soapy now on his own, just stuck alone. He's going to team up with Yomps. But I'm actually very impressed with that push, although they didn't make too much of it. They didn't kind of dominate with that push, but smart. I mean, that's smart, isn't it, Marxist? You take a scout out, you know you have an opening somewhere, right?
Yeah, and then it was the rotation there. But we actually did see Goldfish do some stuff on that push there, so our other player to watch got some action, but now the scouts on the high places will ruin some days. And Cafe is going to get a little bit of ground, but players are trading out, and it looks like second rather is going to stay as is, but the cafes are trying to do things.
They're trying to do things, and certainly Cafe Monster have been, we've got, although here comes, they're going to give it right up. So after all of that, mid just gets taken this easily, and it's obviously because, well, although I think Meat Market are going to just back right up now. They know they've got an Uber in their face. Here comes the Uber and a real early pop, and like I say, they have this whole area now to come across, and I don't think they're going to get any picks. They've got a big stupid wooden wall in their way, and so now they've really kind of popped. Ideally, you want to get in through mid without using. That's not how it worked out.
Yeah, they ended up, when you go through choke like that and you're trying to go quick, that it's really a
you're
hard
rolling the
ask.
dice. Yeah,
yeah, it's really hard to do that. So,
yeah.
And then basically your only hope at that point is you're either going to try to force them and just do the leapfrog thing at mid, or you have to immediately push, and that scares teams. So they chose not to do that. We got a big door push being orchestrated by the Meat Market. They are on the ground and rotating left. Pretty common, but the med is going to get jumped. Oof. Purple shirt nearly doing it, and the Uber is going to get forced. So
nice work by Cheesy MacGyver there. I thought Purple Shirt would have had that pick. It was a perfectly placed jump. And now coming in through this choke, and I think they lose Jarrett. I was going to say they're about to bulldoze in through, but now they're going to go ahead, and you said the key word, which is piggybacking, or whatever word you use, that we're going to be leapfrogging Ubers as we continue here. Cafe are now the ones with Uber, and so they have the dodgeball now, and they're going to come in and see what they can do with it. And ideally here, something's got to give. Some medic has to get dropped, or they have to get killed, you know, to break this. Broking! Surprise Broking appearance! Broking with a guest appearance up and trying to ruin Deska's day. Has to reload, and certainly has the advantage and gets Deska real easily. Deska was trying to stick it in there, and now Broking going to come around the side. Must have been called out, so certainly I think Cafe Monster knows he's there, and his buddy Hoolie's in, doing some action as well. There's only 2 players left up, and this is going to be almost a full wipe, looks like, for Cafe. Although High Five has got a huge buff. Let's see if he can get a pick.
Yeah, he's only using his pistol, though, so...
No,
he didn't have anything left in his scatter gun. If he had a fully reloaded scatter, it might have been a different story, but... They had a really good engagement there, and they killed the med right away, and then it fell apart. So it looked real promising at first, and then they're sort of after Uber positioning got the better of them. Oh, but we have Purple Shirt nearly picking himself up a med pick. There it goes.
There goes Jod.
Is gonna go down with some goldfish spam from across the map.
LOL, says Purple Shirt, and Broking coming right through. I've got to say it, I like watching Broking play. I like all these players, of course, but Hoolie's coming in. We've got a lot of action going on, and Hoolie goes down, and Sophie going to back up a little bit here, and I'm watching Hoolie bleed again, but what I was going to say was Broking's move where he jumped from down underneath and kind of surprised back a minute or so ago was impressive and was a big part of why we're here now and why we're at last Cafe Monster in sort of unfamiliar territory. They haven't been on their own last a whole lot, but every time they've been there, they've had a really big Uber advantage. Have you noticed that? Two times I can think of that they've been very comfortable. There's no Highlander defense or nothing like that. They're going to test the waters a little bit here. Goldfish is going to come out and see what he can see. There's not a whole lot here, but they've got to be real careful. The Uber's just going to come right out, as a matter of fact. Screw being careful. Who needs to be careful? We're going to come right out, but they haven't got any picks right now. And so the leapfrogging and slingshotting continues. Say how you want to say it. We've got 90% here now for John.
The Meat Market had the right idea, and then something spooked them, and they chose not to do it. So when the team Ubers out on the second, you've got 2 options. You can either rotate quickly and push through the opposite of the way you ran out, or you can just go to last. And I guess they're just going to try to work their Uber advantage here, because as long as you don't get forced, you can just recap because they're scared of the Uber, and then push into last with it. But We'll see. It's going to be Bro King and a Scout. So in they go. The combo will go behind them. So it looks like we're going to see a dead Soapy here. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the ideal situation there is not what's happening, and now we're in. Although, man, I've got to say they're fighting it out. Meat Market just hitting the DM. They must have been practicing before, or they must have had a killer pep talk from Blank before. I'm not sure what it was, but they pull out a round, and Marxist, we've got a tie game here. It is 3-3 with about 12 minutes left. And whoever could pull out a round now is certainly going to be in a very good position to take this. Although with 12 minutes left, we might not see a round taken. We've seen some very long ones, and Jarrett, right off the start, has taken a lot of damage and is kind of stuck in Big Door, and hopefully Meat Market not going to get stuck in there. They've lost the Scout already. They lose Jarrett as well. Bro King is hurt and can't jump. And this mid looks... Oh, he jumped with 1 HP! Almost got the pick on the med. Soapy! Very impressive. I'm impressed that he was able to jump with less than 40 HP and be in the air with 1. But in the end, Cafe Monster they smell blood.
Yeah, we're probably going to see a quick push here. They don't know how long Jod has been disconnected, but, I mean, you could give it a go. You're in a good position. Or they could wait. So, I don't really know. They got Cheesy setting up a gun. It's level 1. It's a level 1 7th player. But the Uber is going to come in, and they're going to discover a little fact that they have allowed Meat Market to get Uber. And we're going to see Goldfish get trapped. But he's actually going to kill Jarrett and a backtrap, sort of, from under.
I'm very surprised. Half of Cafe Monster stayed out of that push altogether, Marxist. But they still pull it off just by getting on the point. Purple Shirt was up in bats, just writing a poem and wasn't in the fight at all. But somehow now we've got 4-3 and Cafe Monster. I'm looking at Purple Shirt because I'm just very surprised here. Just, I guess, very fantastic work and maybe a botched situation there by Meat Market, who sort of maybe fell asleep for a second. I don't know, but Cafe Monster rolling over. What's going on here with Meat Market?
Well, Meat Market's mid last time around was pretty bad, and they got really focused on firing down Dead Player and Goldfish and didn't have eyes on Riverside, and they got backcapped. These last two mids, though, they've had a lot of trouble with their auxiliary players. Last minute was both Scouts got absolutely obliterated right at the start, and you can't really fight a mid at that point. And this time, Hooli actually got air shot from above as he tried to rocket jump up onto the point. And that pretty much ended it for him, and then Meat Market just really didn't even come to mid at that point.
Yeah, Yeags just came in for nothing and went down for nothing. And now Purple Shirt trying to come in and take some space. Bro King is down again as well. But actually, Deska actually got taken out. That was Jared who had that was a stick kill. And so certainly Cafe are coming through, but they're without a couple of their big classes, and Purple Shirt in a bit of trouble here now as well, although they're going to pull it off. Only 2 up, and this is disaster here. Cafe going to take this match, looks like.
Yeah, we'll see which is more important, winning the round or killing the med. They're going to choose winning the round, and that will be your game for Cafe Monster.
And we got some trash. We had trash talk before the game. Meat Market were a little frustrated, and they said they couldn't wait to beat Cafe Monster. But in the end, Cafe Monster handing Meat Market their first loss of the season. And really, when we look back on that one, I feel like Cafe Monster were really in the driver's seat, Marxist, for the majority of that match.
Well, they successfully ablated a lot of Meat Market's aggression, and that's sort of what Meat Market is known for. So if you're an aggressive team whose aggression ends up punishing them, then you're headed down to the sad zone.
You know, I'm not trying to put this on one person by any means, but again, I'm just struck in the stats by how often Bro King kind of got too deep and tried to just solo stuff. I mean, he has fantastic damage and whatnot, 374 DPM, but I know that any team is going to take a win over being number 1 in DPM, you know? Did you see any difference? Did you? No, we all know DPM's the most important thing in the world. But, I mean, did you see any difference in the soldier play of Meat Market in that second half? Because it was kind of a fast, you know, it was a whirlwind of a half. But, I mean, did you see any changes made? Well, they had that one quick round, which was really impressive, but...
The biggest issue on the pushes was that Broking was either getting bottled up and then forced to die to save his medic a lot of the match, or he was pushing in through. Because you basically, when you play Pocket and you're pushing with Uber versus Uber, you've got two options basically. And one is you Uber in and then you back out and hope they chase you through a tiny doorway, whereupon you kill them. That never really happened because the Meat Market's med was always getting juggled around and thrown around in sticky traps and other stuff, and you got to pull out really early for that sort of thing to work, or you're going to end up getting behind your medic, and then he will die and you will lose the round, and he'll hate you for it. So you can't let that happen. Or you can jump deep and hope that the team has to turn around to deal with you, and that seemed to be what Broking liked to do. That was when Meat Market had the most success.
Yeah,
but a lot of the time that he did it, the rest of the team just wasn't there. They either pushed through really quickly in a big hurry, and Broking and the med were in position, and maybe Yeegs or Cheesy was with them every now and again, but then there wouldn't be anything else, and you'd see the demo and like 4 other people sometimes trying to push flank and getting obliterated because they didn't have heals, and anything Broking didn't matter because there was no one to follow up.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that I kind of wondering if maybe some of the Meat Market guys didn't really have the match that they were wanting, maybe a bit of underperforming. Jarrett was 15 and 23, which is, 202 DPM is probably not what you want out of your demo. Not that Gully Wash is a humongous demo map or anything like that, but maybe a little underperforming for him. We're getting some guys in here now to talk to after the match, a little interview action going. What's up, boys?
Hello.
Hey.
We've got Deska and Goldfish in here with us. First of all, guys, congratulations on a pretty exciting match. How do you guys feel?
Pretty good.
Easy.
Easy?
Yeah, easy.
Well, we saw the trash talk going
There
down,
you go.
starting just right
Thank
from the
God for that.
right from the start of the match. What was
Easiest
going on
game of my life.
What was going on in the?
Oh, we were just warming up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Is there bad blood between you guys or what? Like, it felt like there was a lot of back and forth.
Honestly,
in the game
Broking wanted a rivalry, so...
Yeah, it's just a rivalry. That's all it is.
So you guys are still undefeated. We were just talking a little bit about kind of maybe the one weakness that we saw out of those guys, and that was maybe the soldiers playing, I guess Broking trying to solo it a little too often. Is that something that you guys caught on and were kind of capitalizing on, or what were you seeing out of Meat Market?
Yeah, we definitely saw that they kept solo Ubering, so it was really easy to just collapse on them and get the better numbers and push. Ubers are really no problem when they just solo and do nothing.
How early on? Is this something that you scouted before, or did it take like a round or two to notice, like, wow, Broking just every time is coming in deep and getting stuck?
Well, like, we've scrimmed against him before, and that's the way he plays. He likes, like, Ubering in and then going behind and doing shit. So...
Yeah, that's a fairly typical way to go about doing things, but the big factor tonight was his team just wasn't with him.
Yeah, I think they play a lot better with Ranga, so...
Ranga's definitely a huge factor for their team. I think with Ranga, they're a really solid team, and they might have won.
Yeah, we spoke about that certainly at the start of this. If people missed off the top, that of course Ranga has that invite experience and whatnot, the most out of anyone, and Hooli's okay, but I think we'd all rather have Ranga over Hooli. Nothing against Hooli, he had an okay match.
No, Hooli's good.
Hung out. Yeah, he was hung out to dry, maybe a little more. We sort of off the top of this, Goldfish, we had some players to watch, and it was the Pockets. It was you and Broking. Does this mean you're a better Pocket than Broking, or?
I would like to shout out
I played
Mason
like trash, so I wouldn't say that.
For the motivation. Thank you, Mason. Yeah.
Mason was a part of it? Well, that's great. No, but certainly, you guys have both been kind of, both of your teams are fantastic all around, but I think that both of you guys as Pockets have been having great seasons. Like, was that in your head at all, or what?
Not really. Stats don't really matter to me in matches. I just want to get the win, stay undefeated. It's really rare that you see Broking backing more heals than me, though. I want to point that out.
Yeah. Well, when we did the pregame, I felt kind of bad because I wasn't super familiar with you guys because y'all sort of came up after I sort of came out. So it's good to see a new bunch of players making it in IM and going undefeated without the arduous graveyard of IM dreams.
I mean, Deska, how did you feel about your night? I mean, certainly, like Marx has said, maybe not everybody necessarily knows your name, but you had a hell of a match yourself too.
I think I played really bad. They made us play on Texas servers, and there was some disputes about that. But
Oh, yeah.
Not Texas 99, was it?
I don't know. It wasn't
It was like
that
107
bad.
or something.
It's just we're used to Chicago, so it was different. But I don't know.
Well, how do you guys feel about your season? We're at about the halfway mark. You're still undefeated.
16-0.
Just past. Yeah, just 16-0. Is that it?
16-0. Yeah.
All right. Do you agree, Goldfish? How do you think going forward? I mean, are the meat market your only sort of challenge to a 16-0, or how are you feeling going forward?
Yeah, I definitely feel like Meat Market's one of the only teams that's going to beat us in playoffs. Like, they're a great team. I think personally, I don't think we played our best tonight. But again, they didn't have Ranga. We still won. I think they're going to be one of the only teams to challenge us this season.
Do you think it'll be a lot closer with Ranga back?
I definitely think it will be a lot closer. If not, they might beat us with Ranga, probably.
So you're calling a 16-0 season. Does that mean you're expecting the other guys to come through the lower bracket to face you? Is it going to be a final meat market and you guys, Cafe Monster?
That's what we're hoping for.
Oh, they're pretty bad, honestly. Like they gonna have to prove it.
Yes.
Well, they seemed pretty confident off the start, but you guys kind of took them to school. I mean, me and Marxist, I think we kind of agreed that you guys seemed like you were...
To be honest, we kind of knew we were going to win going into the match.
Oh, yeah. Great.
There
Well, it's
go.
good when you know it ahead of time.
This is so good and refreshing. Thank God.
They really aren't that good, but they're kind of good, you know what I'm saying?
You know, we're so sick of players being in here and being all, willy-nilly and, pussyfooting around it. We're glad that you guys know what you are, So we've got confidence.
Oh, yeah.
It's Cafe Monster. They know what they're doing, these guys.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe you guys will make some new fans here from people who've been watching the match tonight. Seems like you have a lot of fans in chat.
Here, can we? You want to ruin something real quick, Getawhale?
Ruin something?
Yeah, here, Deska. You were playing the demo mans, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about the new demo man situation?
Oh,
It's really boring to play. It's honestly like sleep-inducing.
There you go.
There
we
you
got
go.
Purple Shirt joining as well.
Demo Man,
So,
the worst class in TF2. What's up,
Yeah.
Purple Shirt?
Hello.
That's not
Purple
the
shirt,
purple shirt.
Oh,
well,
great.
Should probably kick him.
Dashner.
Can we talk about the
Alright.
Jarrett
There we
versus
go.
Deska situation?
Yeah, what situation?
Apparently, Jarrett's way better than Deska.
Now, who said that?
I think Zan, his name is. Where is it at?
It could
Let's
be
go look- let's
Zen
go
is a
look here.
person,
Xana-
but I
yeah,
don't know
Xana,
if it's actually
fellow-
Zen.
Fellow demo?
Oh, it's Blank.
We got
I'm a
Blank coming in
wizard.
here.
Special
I called the
consultant.
5:30.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
Blank.
called it.
Blank did indeed call it a 5-3 against the meat market, so the crystal ball is polished and functional.
Yeah,
Hello,
Blank,
Goldfish.
Blank here to pat these
Hey.
guys on the back, or what?
Yeah, they played a good game. As I saw in the first half, I was like, yep, they're playing the cleaner game. They're probably going to pull it out 5-3. So,
Did you-
to me,
did you-
even the... Oh, sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead.
I was going to ask if you saw any adjustments that we were talking about from the second half from Meat Market, because I think it was really incumbent on them.
Actually, I didn't watch the second half. I took a shower,
Oh, okay.
got some food.
Great. Showers are important.
Hey, well, he'd already
Yeah.
looked in the crystal ball, so
Yeah,
it was a foregone
I determined the
conclusion.
outcome, but now I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh no, even though Meat Market are my boys, I didn't really mind whichever team won. I just like to watch good TF2, and Cafe Monsters played well, and that was some good TF2.
We
So they
had
pulled it
that
out.
tonight, definitely. Well, listen, do you guys have any shout-outs, Desk and Goldfish? Time for shout-outs.
Okay, shout out to Chunky for being chunky. Shout out to Zilly for being the best invite med. Shout out to Silk Thread.
Yeah, I got a bunch of shout outs. Shout out to my babe, Fishylin. I love you. Shout out to Devin P. Shout out to Mr. Slen. Shout out to my team for winning. I think my team played really great. I played really trash. I think they carried me, which I love my team for. Shout out to, hold on, let me scroll down my friends list here. Shout out to Mousy, Zigster, and yeah, I think that's it.
Oh,
That's
shout out
it.
to Geckner too.
And shout out to Gickner as well. Well, listen, that was fantastic. We want to thank you guys for joining us here in the channel. Cafe Monster, they're still undefeated, and they're calling it right now. They're going to be 16-0. If you want to see that happen, you want to stick with us here on TFTV because we'll have a lot more IM coverage coming the rest of the season. We'll see if it's going to be them in Meat Market, but tonight Cafe Monster coming up on top, and it's 9-0 for them. Marxist, do you have anything else before we go, friend?
Nope, solid game. Hope we get to watch some more IM as the season goes along.
And hopefully
this is the first time I've been involved in it.
Yeah, hopefully they're all as good as this as well, because this was certainly a hell of a match. The top two teams, maybe we'll... I haven't seen the schedule yet. I don't think it's determined yet, but we'll see how it all plays out. But that's it for us. My name is Getawhale. His name is Marxist. We want to give special shout out to Blank, who was fantastic to come in and do some analysis in the half and at the end of the match. And, of course, Dashner, who provided 2 cans and production and is going to provide, I think, a little theme song here at the end. So, guys, if you don't follow us on YouTube, do that. If you're watching this live, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Team Fortress TV, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.